Why should He reward you with heaven when you did not fulfill the purpose of your creation?
If I pray, if I submit to God, He will be happy?
Not about being happy. This is all about you, whether you deserve to go to heaven or hell. If you work for a company, right? Do you expect wages after the end of the month or something? Right?
Yeah, but it's different.
So that's the contract that you have. If God created you and told you that this is what you have to do, and if you do it, this is what the reward you will have. But if you don't do and do something opposite, then this is the bad consequences that you're going to have.
Brother,
Would you listen to God? Khuda?
Yeah, that is a bit different. You work for wage and you are going to have one. That's different issue.
Do you think God created you for no purpose?
Yeah, to live in this world.
To live. How?
How you live.
Which law? What is the law of God in this world?
The law of God is to live happy, to be
when you say to live happy, to this,
justice.
How do you know this is the law of God?
Yeah, that's our logic.
That's your logic.
You know, when He created us and He put everything here in our brain. Yeah,
So-
but there is long history we talk about. For example, before 2,000 years ago was different God. This is a lot of story. I cannot tell everything in 30 minutes. I cannot. You know.
So God doesn't send prophets and messengers. Khuda doesn't send prophets and messengers?
According to my own opinion, no.
No. So He leaves people with their own logic.
Yeah.
And with their own logic they become atheists. They become deists. They become pantheists. They become Christians. They become Sikhs. They become many religions.
Yes.
Right. So all of these people, they follow different path and different way with their logic.
Yeah.
And God's going to be happy with them.
Yes. You are. Yeah.
So if someone insults God,
Yeah. Yes.
He'll be happy too.
I don't think insulting some is nothing for God. It's nothing for God.
You can't speak on behalf of God, right? That's one thing you need to understand. So don't say,
If someone insults God, God has power to destroy this man. Yeah.
and God will be happy
Anybody.
with him and God will put him into paradise.
Yeah, He can destroy in
No,
this
no, no.
world. Yeah.
If someone insults God, you would say God will be so happy He will put him into paradise.
Yeah, because God has mercy. He will put him in paradise. Yeah.
Yeah, even though someone insults God.
Yeah.
So if God is indifferent, doesn't matter what you believe about Him, doesn't matter what you do, as long as your logic tells you what to do and you do it, God is happy with that. What's the point of believing in anything? What's the point of being good or bad? What's the point of being honest or truthful? What's the point of being sincere? What's the point of being just? What's the point of being forgiving, compassionate, merciful? What's the point? You can do anything and everything and God will put into paradise. That's your logic.
Yeah, the logic is what you are talking about. It's, that is...
Do you think the good and the bad are equal?
Of course not.
Of course not. But according to God, the good and the bad are equal, you were saying.
No.
You were saying the good and the bad, they all
According to your
and
logic, for example, there is bad and there is good. There is
is
positive and
is
negative.
there good and bad in this world?
Yes, of course.
Good. Those people who do bad, is God going to reward them with paradise or is going to be just and punish them?
No, of course not.
Right. So how does one know what is good and what is bad?
How?
How does one know and be sure what is good and what is bad? Because if bad people are going to be punished in the afterlife, then people should stop being bad. People should know what bad is. Is calling God a monkey good or bad? Is believing God is a monkey god or an elephant god good or bad? Is believing God has a son or a daughter or a wife good or bad?
I don't know about this.
Right. So it's important for us to know these things. And this is why, my friend, God, Khuda, sends prophets and messengers. There are people who are righteous, truthful, upright, and God speaks through them, telling us, because that's what happened throughout history. God appoints prophets and messengers and tells people through them who God is, what is good, what is bad, and what we're supposed to do.
How long do we
That
live?
is just.
Yeah. How long do we live? How long do we live in this world, humanity?
Very short life.
No. I mean all the human. How long? How many thousand years they live?
I don't know.
Let's say 4,000. Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Why you don't have? For example, Muslim 1,400. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean.
Muslims start with the first man God
we're-
created.
No. That's maybe. But
It's not maybe. That's our belief.
if really he was the real God, the powerful God, he can give us this Quran, for example, 4,000 years ago.
The real God gave revelation,
Yeah.
guidance, prophethood, messengership to people in the past, and they had their proof and evidence. So when, for example, God made Moses a prophet of God, God gave him the evidence so that people could believe in him.
He was very aggressive prophet, yeah.
No,
According to
you
Torah, yeah.
think he's aggressive because you have a story about him
Yeah,
from
I
a
know.
corrupted source. People have often corrupted the source of these prophets and messengers, revelation and the stories. The history people have changed, and that is why the Quran is now working as a criterion, a muhaiminan, what we call a safeguard, quality control, being the final revelation from God, telling people what was the message sent to people before and what is the message now and for all times. Consistent message that you have been created for a purpose, and that purpose is to submit and surrender to His will, not that you become arrogant, because He gave you life as a trust, so that you have taken this life a trust from God and fulfill the purpose, the amount of time that you have in this life. And He has given us the teachings in which we can truly live our life in this world, fulfilling that purpose that He wants us to do. And then if we do this, He guarantees and promises us with rewards in heaven, in paradise and hereafter. A life with no end, continuous living without an end of joy, tranquility, happiness and bliss. Would you not want that life?
How do you know this we are going to happen? How do you know this purpose?
You
How do you know?
need
Nobody
to
come
follow.
from- Almost 50 billion people died. No one comes from out.
Every single human, every single individual has to fulfill the purpose by following the laws of God, laws of Khuda. Yep. If you fulfill this, God has promised us the reward, and He has promised us to save us from the punishment of hellfire.
Brother, nobody knows.
What do you mean nobody
Nobody
knows?
knows we are going to paradise or hell. Nobody knows.
God
Most
has
people, they are agnostic today.
promised us. If you live your life accordingly, this way,
Yeah.
the way of the Prophet and Messenger, then the guarantee is there that you will be saved from the hellfire and you will be rewarded with an eternal happiness in hereafter. How to live our life is to then accept the guidance from Khuda, to accept this guidance and to follow it. The question you may ask is, how do I know this book is from Khuda?
Yeah, that's
That is the question you should be asking. Now ask yourself this question. A book from God must be free from errors and contradictions. A book from God must demonstrate that it is from God.
no. There is contradiction in the Quran.
Can you give me some examples?
But I will bring if you want.
If you cannot do it now, it's no point saying there is.
Yeah, there is, because I don't know which.
There is no
part.
point
I have
saying
to
it.
get, I have
No,
to
there is
bring
no
all.
point saying there is when you cannot provide anything.
For example,
If you cannot provide anything,
Yeah,
it's
so
better
now-
not to say that there is.
no. For example, chopping hands in the Quran.
Yeah, chopping hands.
Cutting hands in the Quran. You think that is right? That is logic? Of course not.
Okay, let's understand something. If
That
a
is
criminal,
unacceptable
let's understand something using logic, right?
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
Let's understand something. Logic,
There is
logic, logic.
without explaining, just
Let's
cutting
let's
man, woman. Yeah.
let's use logic.
Yeah.
Someone murders your mother,
Yeah. That's not about
and
murdering. That's about
and the
stealing.
punishment is giving that murderer
Death, yeah.
£1 million money and a boat to have a cruise in the Mediterranean with whatever he wants. Is this an appropriate, just punishment for
course.
murdering your mother?
Of course.
So what should be done to this individual?
Or to put in prison
Why?
20 years, or
Why?
to
Why?
kill them, or
Why?
execute.
He should not be touched. He should be rewarded.
Why? No, that's not logic.
Okay, so logic means
Yeah.
that he has done something wrong
Yeah.
and he needs to be punished for the wrong.
No, not hard punished.
Not punished?
No, that our
Punish or no punishment? Which one?
No. Our topic
What does
is
logic
about
say?
Stealing. About
Before we
cutting
go into
hands.
stealing,
Yeah.
we need to understand the concept of
Yeah.
punishment, concept
Punish,
of wrong. Killing your mother,
Yeah.
was it right or wrong?
Of
Good or
course,
bad?
Of course, wrong. Of course.
Wrong.
Yes.
So does this wrong thing requires some kind of retribution, some kind of punishment, some kind
Punishment. Yeah.
punishment?
Yeah.
Right. Is punishment something that is always nice?
Of course, nice. Yeah.
Nice. So if I punish that individual
Yeah,
by
that's more.
giving that individual £1 million and send him to a cruise in the Mediterranean,
Of course
is
not.
that a punishment?
No, of course not.
Why not?
That's rewarding.
So punishment is something that maybe
We should put in prison or 20 years. We should
wait.
execute. Yeah.
What is punishment? When you say you want to punish someone,
Yeah. I want to
what
put in
are you?
prison, Yeah.
No,
20
forget
years.
about putting prison.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do with punishment? What is this punishment?
Punishment is like how he killed. Yeah. How he killed.
He
my
kills
mother.
someone
Yeah,
which you
someone
think
killed
is
them, you wanna
bad,
punish them.
but
That's
you want
all.
to
Just
punish.
finish it, yeah.
So I say punishment is giving this person £1 million and sending him to a cruise in the
That's
Mediterranean.
not punishment. That's
Why is it not punishment?
that.
What does
that's
punishment do to?
rewarding, that's-
What does punishment do to an individual?
Punishment is he should suffer. That's all.
Suffering. So that individual may suffer.
Yeah.
Right. So
The
suffer
same he did. We should do
this
the same.
because he made your mom kill,
Yes.
suffering,
Yes,
and made
we
you suffer.
Yeah.
Right. So there's some element of suffering inflicted in return.
Yeah.
Yeah? And you have no problem with that.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. We should punish them. We should kill
So
them. Yeah.
suffering the criminal
Yeah.
through the eyes of justice
Yeah.
is no problem with you.
No.
Right. Now, suffering, I think putting someone in prison is not suffering. I may say so, because that person has a luxurious lifestyle. He has his own home in the prison. He has his own TV. He has his own food. He doesn't have to work. It could be like that. That doesn't seem like suffering to me.
No.
Now, what if I tell you, if that person is punished
Yeah.
by killing him with the eyes of the law, by taking his life away or her life away, the criminal, so the person suffers,
The
would
person.
would that be okay?
Yeah.
So even if you were to kill that individual
Yeah.
as a just retribution,
Yeah.
you don't have a problem with that.
No. I have no.
Right. What is worse, chopping off the hands or killing an individual?
I think it's both is the same. If you chopping hand is like.
So you think
You-
killing
that's killing.
an individual and chopping of the hands is the same suffering?
No, it's big different. We are talking about thief.
No,
We're
I'm
not
now
chopping
talking
hands.
about
Yeah.
killing an individual
Yeah, individual.
and chopping of the hands. Are they the same?
Almost, yeah, because we got two hands according to Quran. We got two hands, yeah. Two hands.
So
is
if a
one-
person who murders your mother
yeah, that's different.
and the punishment is chopping off the hands,
No, the punishment is death.
no, if I said the punishment is chopping off the hands, would you be okay with that? Or you say
No,
that's
no.
not enough?
Yeah, I say it's enough.
You said it's enough.
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah,
You said it's enough.
yeah. According, for example, this murder killed my mother. We cut his hands.
And if someone kills a whole community,
that's
would you say chopping of the hands is enough?
No. Punish is dead.
Right. So you understand the severity.
Yes.
The severity of the crime requires punishment to be severe likewise. Yeah? Like for like. Right. When someone steals,
Yes.
when they have no need for stealing, they are provided with all the means not to steal. What does it tell you about that person?
Brother,
When someone kills someone when there's no need to kill, what does it tell you about that person?
brother, you are talking about this thief. Don't make so long this. We
No,
wanna
it's
finish
under-
only 5
look,
minutes.
look.
Just finish
Let's-
it, you know.
it's not about just
What is
finishing
the-
it.
Yeah.
In Islam,
Yeah.
you can't just chop someone's hands just like that.
Very
If
sad, yeah.
if you have a person,
Yeah.
he is hungry and dying of starvation,
Yeah.
and goes to a shop and steals, do you think Islamic law will get this person's hands chopped off?
Islamic, today, of course not. But in the Quran is different. That's
No.
without explanation, you know.
If
they say
a
direct,
person
yeah.
is dying of starvation, and to save his life or her life,
To steal, yeah.
steals,
It's
do,
good.
do you know that nowhere in Islamic law they can implement chopping of the hands?
Of course not, yeah. Today, yeah.
No, not today. Anytime. In Islam, anytime. The hands will not be chopped off. Did you know that?
Because we change, you know.
Did you know that?
Majority of Muslim countries,
Ah,
they don't follow this.
Forget about
Only
Muslim
Saudi
countries.
Arabia.
I am not talking about Muslim countries.
Yeah.
Imagine he's
Yeah?
not starving.
I am. And excuse me, who came here to disturb me here again? Don't you have any shame?
Don't you have,
Don't you have any
shame?
respect?
Don't you have any shame?
I do not wish to speak to you. So have some good
Have some respect,
respect
and obey me.
and bye-bye. So my
Have
friends,
some respect.
so Muslim countries is not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I am talking about Islamic law that comes from Islamic sources. The Quran,
Yeah.
the Sunnah,
Yeah.
and the two other sources derived from the Quran and Sunnah. The consensus called ijma', and there is something called qiyas, analogical deduction. There are four sources of Islamic law. In Islamic law,
Yeah.
if a person were to steal in that situation, hands will never be chopped off. So you need to understand whose hands gets chopped off.
But there is no explanation, brother, as for the thief, the mal, and the final and betrayed their hands in the communities for what they committed. There is no explanation. Just
There is explanation.
you have to go to Hadith.
Where is the explanation of the Quran? Did the Prophet explain the Quran?
No, it's okay.
Hang on. You did not find the explanation. But I'm saying there is an explanation.
You mean Hadith?
Don't say you mean.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
there is an explanation, where can we find it?
Hadith.
We can find the explanation from the Prophet. Did the Prophet of Islam, who was given this Quran, did he explain it? Did his companions explain it, who received the Quran from the Prophet? We know yes they did. And we have examples of how they did not punish individuals when the conditions were not met. So conditions have to be met before punishment can be implemented. It's not like you, Tom, Dick and Harry, taking your law on your own hands and you implement Islamic punishment system. It's not like this. So Islamic system is such that the punishment system is linked with the severity of the crime. There are only a handful of crimes that requires severe fixed punishment. The rest of them are something what we call discretionary, according to the judge discretion, looking at the evidence, looking at the situation and so on. So you cannot simply say, when the Quran says, cut the hands of the thief, it means that is illogical. I would say no. Look,
illogical,
this system prevented theft better than the system that you have today. The Islamic system prevented the crime of stealing better than the system that we have today, putting them in prisons. It's a history which is the evidence for it. When Islam was implemented, people during the time of prayer, when the call of prayer was heard, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, do you know what they did? They would just draw a curtain on their table of merchandise. They didn't have to put the shutter and lock with lock and key. They would leave it and they will go to the masjid and they will come back and still the same. Confidence and the comfort and the understanding with what we call the tranquility in their heart that people are... Wait, my friend, it's very important for you to reflect. What gave them the reassurance in their heart, the tranquility that their merchandise that they're leaving unattended will still be as they left it, not stolen. This happened in Islamic lands when Islam was implemented for a long time. Do you know why?
I saw in my eyes, brother. In Afghanistan, the time of Taliban was the same. You cannot steal, Taliban.
So why is this? Because they had the teaching of Islam and they knew that if someone steals out of no necessity, your hand's gonna get chopped off. What are you gonna do without your hands? You will live a miserable life. So that is why this worked as a very powerful deterrent. In crime and punishment system, there is always an element what we call deterrent. Deterrent. Does it deter, stop people from committing this crime?
No.
If let me give you an example. You will perfectly understand it. Imagine we live in a country and the punishment for murder is $20. Do you think in that country the crime of murder will increase or decrease?
Increase, of course.
It will increase. Because if someone's got $30, he will say, I can get away with one murder. Easy, $20, no problem. So, did this punishment act as a deterrent?
No, this punishment is very harsh, it's very hard, it's block your brain.
Wait.
It's not good, of course.
Let's understand that.
That's block your brain,
So,
people always scared.
So, did this punishment
It's
of
not good, of
$20 fine for a murder act as a deterrent?
Of course,
It didn't. It is not going to stop people from committing murder because they know the punishment is something that is nothing.
No,
if someone has £100, he can get away with 5 murders.
I told this young man, all this law was for 7th, 8th century, not for today.
Listen.
Not
the
for
Islamic
today.
punishment system stops crimes happening in society. And you said you've seen it yourself. I am saying You may consider this is harsh, and I agree with you, it's harsh.
Yes.
The harshness is intended. The harshness is intentional. The punishment needs to be in line with the severity of the crime. If the crime is murder, the punishment shouldn't be $20 fine only. It is not like for like. So, is there anything else that you found in the Quran that you consider with your logic that it's impossible, it could be from God?
Yeah, there's a lot of things.
Share with us something.
For example, why God talk about Christianity? Why Allah talk about Christianity?
Sure.
He should say only about direct about Quran. This is my religion, not about these people, about
Sure.
that.
Yeah. Now imagine you are a Christian
Yeah.
and God didn't say anything about your religion, about your prophet whatsoever. You will then say and ask, does not God know anything about the belief that was there for centuries, that was happened and so on and so forth? You can equally raise this question. What I am saying instead is this. Christianity is not something ahistorical. It happened in history. But what happened is a corruption of the original message of Christ. The Quran testifies of the truthfulness of his message and falsifies of the errors that has been introduced in the message of Christ. The Quran acts as a quality control, tells them, the Jews and the Christians,
Yeah.
the pagans,
Yeah.
and the atheists, and the people who are polytheists. It tells them, interacts with them.
No, Allah
Why?
can guide these
Why?
people.
Why? Because the Quran addresses them too.
According to Quran, Allah can guide these people, Allah can guide you, Allah can guide me.
But Allah
cannot guide them.
guides infallibly through his prophets and messengers, through the guidance that he sends through them. If Allah wanted, he could personally guide me,
Yeah.
he could personally guide you,
Why
he can
don't
personally
guide
guide
me?
everyone.
Why-
Right.
why he don't
But
guide
look,
these
look,
people, why?
but what are you to deserve his personal guidance?